Nation, Brandy Red. NAACP Life Membership Program, Alicia Hildred. The Juvenile Delinquency Prevention, Jason Johnson. The NAACP Self-Help Community Uplift Project, Katrina Henderson. The Cooperative Tutoring Program, Roderick Montgomery. There you have the leadership of the 1993 and 94 NAACP Youth Council. David Fowler stated that when the youth group take that trip to Chicago, Illinois for the 85th annual NAACP convention in July of 1994, they will be the top youth council in the United States. He bragged about the fact that the NAACP Youth Council is the only youth council in the United States that not only owns its building, that not only meet every week, but also the doors are open continuously as the Youth Council continue its mission of fighting discrimination of all kinds. Those of you that have not been to Freedom Center, we want you to go. And we want you to realize what you have here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. We want you to feel the love. We want you to feel the gratitude of young people to all of you that have made this hour and this minute possible. David Fowler has his own office in the executive department of Freedom Center. You will see the committees at work, and on next Monday at exactly 7 o'clock, that will be a workshop on leadership. Now, those of you that would like to participate in this workshop, please let us know in order that these young people can continue to develop to their fullest potentials. Those of you that have young people between the ages of 2 and 29, would you be kind enough to become a part of the NAACP? We are sending you a special invitation. This invitation comes not only from David Fowler, the president, but from all of the youth advisors and members of the NAACP. Now, you have plenty youth advisors in the NAACP, but you don't have enough. We need your support. We want your support. And all you have to do is to call me out here and say, Clara, I would like to work on one of the committees. I would like to help train young people in these various areas that these committees provide. I'm a specialist in voters registration, and I would like to work with that committee. I'm a specialist in education. I want to work with that committee. But whatever it is, now, if you want to work, the doors are open, and you can come and work. It's better to light one candle than to curse the darkness. Those of you that are skilled in education, we need you to help work with our young people on the education committee. You veterans out there, Elgina Ellsbury would like to have your support in working with that committee. Now, we have named the committees, we have told you the job, and finally with AXO. AXO is an Olympic of the mind, and we want you to be a part of it. If you're in grades from the 9th through the 12th, we would like to have your participation in the humanities. We would like to have you in the sciences. We would like to have you in the math field. And if you are interested, and you should be interested, if you aren't interested, you should be. If you can play a piano, if you know any musical instruments, I would like to have a list of those of you, because we want to expose you. We want to let the world see the talent that we have in Oklahoma. We want you to help us. And today is a good day where you can start and say, I want to be a part of the prize-winning NAACP Youth Council in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And David would like to certainly thank you. The memberships came in last week from all directions. And I would like to thank you adults that call and say, I want to buy some NACP youth memberships for some young people. Now, the memberships are $3, and you can call us 424-2384. You can call us, you can come by, and we need your brains. We need you to help us, and I name the areas in which the NACP Youth Council will be working this year. You've got a nice home, a nice car, and you haven't had a real problem with either in years. No accidents, not even a moving violation at Allstate that can earn you a nice reward. Talk to Marilyn Hildred at Allstate about the Allstate Auto Advantage discounts. It is a special way to thank people with excellent driving records and Allstate home insurance. And it means a savings up to 15% off Allstate car insurance. Now, if that's the kind of recognition you like to get, stop by and see Marilyn. Office is located at 730 North Britton in Oklahoma City. You are in good hands with Allstate. Allstate Insurance Company, a member of the Sears Financial Network, subject to qualifications and local availability. That's Marilyn Hildred, Allstate Insurance Company. Freedom Center is a place that you need to visit, and I would like to thank that group from Kentucky last week and a group from Los Angeles that visited Freedom Center. When you go to Freedom Center, you will think of the thousands and millions of men and women and children who gave their lives' blood for the freedom of this country. You would think of the sad moans and the tears of their hearts. Then you would think of those who fought every day of their lives to work and to build this nation into the vast free economy that it is today. Freedom Center is an attempt to help all of mankind find a better world, to drive to make all of the dreams and hopes of America realities. It's a place where people have worked together. No one can give dignity to men and hope to men unless it's men. We can change cities. We can change streets, but we cannot change the desire and that heartbeat of freedom that's in many people's hearts. We're going to have to come out of the darkness of poverty into the sunshine of prosperity. Each of us must do our part. We cannot leave the solution to anyone else, and we cannot blame anyone for our own mistakes. Congratulations as you prepare to celebrate the Freedom Fiesta comes from Mr. Gates of the Gates Barber Shop, located at 2609 North Martin Luther King Avenue. Mr. Gates writes, I was with you when the sit-in movement started in 1958 on that hot August evening, August 19th. And I will be with you in 1993 as you celebrate the beginning of the sit-in movement. I've always been with you. I've supported you with my prayers, my songs, and my finance. And I take this opportunity to thank God that I was a part of the sit-in movement. And as I visit the restaurants and as I travel across the country, I know what the NACP has done. Robert Gates, owner and manager of the Gates Barbershop, located at 2609 North Martin Luther King Avenue. A barbershop among barbershops. They call him King Gates. Yes, Mr. Gates is a barber. He's a barber's barber. Mr. Gamble and Mr. Gates are there today waiting to take care of your hair. As Cecil Williams used to put it, waiting to take care of business. When I think of business, though, I think of Johnson Jardina's Daycare Center. Truly one of the oldest surviving daycare centers in the state of Oklahoma. Johnson's Jardinus, located at 1645 Northeast of 50th Street. The telephone number is 424-4656. You want more than a daycare center where you can drop your child. You want a daycare center where your child can learn, where your child can sing songs, where your child can recite poetry, where they can use their artistic ability and where it can be developed. Then think of Johnson's Jardinus, 1645 Northeast to 50th Street, owned by Mr. Paul Williams and Mr. Paul Matthews and Mrs. Gloria Matthews, all at Johnson's Jardinus, Oklahoma City. Mr. Paul Matthews and Mrs. Gloria Matthews join in saluting the NAACP Youth Council, its advisors, as they prepare to celebrate the Freedom Fiesta in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I will be telling you more about the role that Mrs. Matthews will be playing a bit later in the show. Congratulations, Clara, as you and your committees, your youth, prepare to celebrate the anniversary of the beginning of the sit-in movement. That comes from Dr. A.L. Dial, who was with us in 1958 and who's still with us in 1993. Dr. A.L. Dial, located at 934 Northeast 8th Street in Oklahoma City. The telephone number is 235-0536. Congratulations comes from the Edwards Redeemer, located at 1530 Northeast Grand Boulevard. It's called A Home Away from Home. It's a guarantee, a home away from home. The telephone number is 424-2273. All you have to do is go there and see for yourself. If you want your parents and your friends and your other relatives taken care of when you are no longer able to do it, remember Edwards Redeemer. And tell them you heard it on the Clara Luper radio show. Today is a day that we stop and we salute those that have been on the battlefield for a long time. We salute those people of the NAACP that have perpetuated the history of the NAACP. And we are very happy to salute them as we prepare for the celebration of the beginning of the sit-in movement. How many of you remember how it was before the sit-ins? How many of you remember the visible segregation that was in evidence? But now we celebrate. Why do you celebrate? And let me ask you a question. Why don't you celebrate? What do you have to celebrate? You have the fact that you were in the state of Oklahoma at the beginning of the sit-in movement. And to all of you down in Clinton, Oklahoma, where the state NAACP conference will be held, and it will be held at a hotel. And no wonder Mr. Redwine say, I am proud of the NAACP. I am proud of its history and its leaders because of the NAACP. The hotels are open here in Clinton, and we can host the 1993 State NAACP convention, and that convention will take place in October, and I will be telling you more about it. Congratulations as we prepare to celebrate the beginning of the sit-in movement. We will celebrate by letting you know that you're going to be a part of it, and we will be telling you what you can do. Now, this is a whole issue. What can you do? I know one thing you can do if you're thinking about buying an automobile. You can go out to Crossroad Chrysler Plymouth, located at 208 Southwest 7th Street in 74th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Let me repeat. Crossroad Chrysler Plymouth, 208 to Southwest 74th Street. I-240 at South Walker in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Hometown IGA would like to salute the NAACP, the Youth council members, friends, advisors, those that participated in the sit-in movement. Not only that, they are offering a service. They are employing people right in the neighborhood. Hometown IGA. Pharmacy, fresh meat and produce, open 24 hours, and you can look for the bargains, all at Hometown IGA in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This morning, I'm going to give you an opportunity to call in because you deserve it. You are the top. You are the best. You are the top. Have you read my book, Behold the Walls? I received orders every week from all over the country for that book. And those of you that don't have my book, be sure and call me, 424-3949, and tell me that you want to read Behold the Walls so you will know what's going on. Now, I'm going to let you in on a secret. If you don't have my book, now your children are going to school, and they're going to have to read about the sit-in movement. They're going to have to read, if they take Oklahoma history in the state of Oklahoma, they're going to have to read about Clara Luper. And you can have them ahead of the class by reading Behold the Walls by Clara Luper. What a book. 346 exciting pages, filled with over 100 pictures of people that made a difference. Yes, Behold the Walls by Clara Luper. Read about it so you don't have to go around saying what should have happened. Look at what has actually happened. Someone has called and want to know why don't I answer the criticism that people put toward me. Oh, it's so simple. I don't answer it because I don't have to answer it. The record will speak for itself. Calvin, do you know it's a new book out, 100 women in America, black women in America, and it costs $99.95?
No, I'm not aware of that, Mom.
Well,
That's why I listen to the Clara Luper radio.
I have a copy of it, and in Oklahoma, I'm so happy that Hannah Atkins, Clara Luper, and Ada Loy Scipio are in
okay. Well, that alone makes it worth the $99.95. I wonder where copies of that are available, or if they're available at the Ralph Ellison Library there at 23rd Martin Luther King.
I don't know,
So,
but
I
saw the book was on exhibit in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I saw people buying that book, and the writer of the book was kind enough to let me come in his booth and autograph. I really felt good to be among those top women. I really felt good.
You know, I was listening to the early part of the show out there, and I'm actually having a great time listening to it, and got to thinking about the Freedom Fiesta coming up and how it really is truly a family affair, that the NAACP and other organizations together, fighting together, the changes that were made and the strength of the whole movement is just like a family affair type feeling. And I'm wondering how best those of us who are listening, how can we really participate in the Freedom Fiesta? We're going to talk about that a little later.
Okay, it's always time to talk about the Freedom Fiesta. And the first thing, what we need to do first is to realize that we are a people that have a history. And unless we talk about our own history, what did Abraham Lincoln say? You cannot escape history. That's the first thing. The second thing, we need to know our history. We need to read about it. We need to go to our public library, rushing in there and say, I want to know about our people and what they have done. Now, if people are talking and don't have anything in writing, you can't afford to waste time talking about that, because it has to be something that's solid. And it has to be a realization that Oklahoma and the United States are different today because of what people did. Now, somebody had the leadership, and I like the theme of the NAACP this year. The torch has been handed to a new generation. So first thing you got to do is to participate. And to participate, all you have to do is to pick up the telephone and say, I want to be a part of it. Now, don't do like a friend of mine who said, oh, yes, I've been with Clara Luper all the time, and nobody could find a record, and the people that are with me sign in and sign out so we'll know exactly who's that, but nobody can find a record of...
Well, I know one name that will be on that list, and has always been on that list, and that's a young man that spent many an hour helping the young people in this community and helping everybody in this community, and that's A. Willie James. And every time around this time, Freedom Fiesta, I can just see Uncle Willie getting ready to do anything, everything. That man could sell more NAACP memberships than any one person
that I've ever seen. And nobody has even surpassed his record.
And here was a young man who loved NAACP, who understood NAACP, but more importantly than that, he would do everything he can to help our people. And when I say our people, I mean the black people and the white people. But in order to have a conversation with Uncle Willie, you had to be an NAACP member.
Oh, yes, he was great. He loved NAACP, and so did Mrs. Theodosia Crawford, who could sell memberships like an iceman selling ice when they didn't have refrigerators. Theodosia Crawford will always be remembered. And I've seen people that have come up there and looked at the monument and say, look at Theodosia. She's done so much for us.
And then you come to mind Dr. Charles Atkins and the sacrifices that he would make with his time and with his money. A lot of people may not realize, but out front you don't see all the activities that go on back behind. And Dr. Atkins' name and face comes to my mind just thinking about the struggle during the sit-in movement, the struggle during the Dow versus the Board of Education movement, during all of the highlights of the Civil Rights movement here in Oklahoma. You have to think about Dr. Charles Atkins, and that's what the Freedom Fiesta leads up to.
Yeah, the Freedom Fiesta is a constant reminder of the Cecil L. Williams. And when I think of Cecil Williams, a black businessman, how he used his voice and how he used his time. And I remember that night he sat up all night at Bishop's Restaurant. Why are you doing it, Cecil? I'm doing it in order that my people can enjoy the benefits of our democracy. He was proud of his country. He was proud of his family. And he was certainly an outstanding leader.
These are uncertain times, and we have to do what we can. And why don't we take a couple minutes break here, Dean, and let's put this song out to all of those people out there who have fought so hard in so many different ways and who continue to fight. Thank you so much. But then when this time comes, we know we'll be ready because we've done our best while we could. When we all get to
say goodbye to Reverend Zeno David Bennett. It had been a long time, some 91 years, that Reverend Bennett had been in America. He was born near Shreveport, Louisiana. The family moved to Bristol, where Reverend Bennett made his church home at the Harlinsville Baptist Church and was ordained as a deacon by Reverend J.T. Alston. He met and married his loving and devoted wife of 63 years and 8 months, the lovely Irene Hill. And I would like to repeat that. Reverend Bennett was married for 63 years and 8 months to the former Irene Hill. Oh, they had a nephew named James Arthur Ford that they raised, took care of. And on Wednesday, this young man stood up in front of a crowded church and talked about what Reverend Bennett meant to him. He said that he was more than a father to him, that he had touched him at birth and he continued to mold his life. He stated the songs and the prayers and the example that Reverend Bennett demonstrated. Reverend Bennett, a minister ordained in 1944, and started pastoring his first church in 1956. In 1960, Reverend Bennett organized the Stiles Avenue Baptist Church, where he worked as a dedicated pastor and servant of God until his death. For 25 years, he worked for the Rock Island Railroad Company, retiring in 1970. He was active with the West Side Lodge number 42, but a crowd gathered. There was music by the Bethlehem Star Choir. The scriptures were read by Reverend T.H. Hubbard and Dr. T.J. Roberts, and a prayer by Reverend Gilstrap. And then there were resolutions that came from all over. There were special remarks that was led by Reverend Percy Tomlin. Reverend M.L. Tucker rendered amazing grace, touching the heartstrings of all that was present. And then the words of comfort and hope came from Pastor J.C. Coates. The East Side District, the Ministerial Alliance, and others made financial presentations to Mrs. Bennett. But it's all over. It was all over. A faithful servant had gone home to live with God. It was a good time in heaven. Then now a personal note. I had known Reverend Bennett ever since we moved to Oklahoma City. My family, especially my mother and father, were very close to the Bennett family. Loved them with a passion. Some years ago, when my father went home to be with God, Reverend and Mrs. Bennett was there. And then as I saw them on Wednesday move his body slowly out of the church, I knew that there had been another reunion in heaven. And I would like to say thanks to all of you. Those of you that know the Bennett family, those of you that have stood by him through the years, and those of you that have helped. Mrs. Bennett and the entire family would like to say thanks. James Arthur Ford would like to say thanks. Thanks so much. So many times we ask why, and we do not have the answer. We do not have the answer. This has been a week that we shall never forget. It will always live in our memory, because we've seen not only Reverend Bennett, but we have seen others that have gone home. It was a sunny day. It was 11 a.m. on Thursday, July 29th, in 1993, and a crowd like you had never seen gathered at the Church of the Living God to pay respect to Devin DeLawrence Frazier. Frazier, a young man, born on January 29, 1979, to DeLawrence, Maurice, and Vicki Frazier, the only child. And many of you remember Maurice because he died in 1982. But little Devin, a young man, 14 years old, attended the first 2 years in private school at Cassidy. Later attended Western Village, where he was promoted 1 grade because of his academic ability, receiving all kinds of awards. And later he attended Middale Christian School, where he was selected as an all-conference running back in his freshman year. In his freshman year, he attended Kerr Junior High School. Later, he was promoted to Dale City High School. He accepted Jesus Christ under the leadership of Elder Higgs, a member of the Mass Choir and Young People's Progressive Union, working together. He was a member of the COLG number 39 basketball team. But on Sunday, July the 25th, 1991, David Frazier left us. He left in a way that we cannot understand, and that we continue to ask ourselves, what went wrong? What could happen that a young man would want to end his own life? Oh, we can think, but then where are the answers? Where are the answers? The answers were found in the song, To God Be the Glory, Oh How I Love Jesus, from scriptures by Bishop Morgan and Bishop Bowie, and a prayer by Bishop Lewis. It was found in remarks by Larry Adams, a coach at Middale School, by Mrs. Marie Davis, a principal of Kerr Junior High. And then in the song, Wind Beneath My Wings, by Rosalind Bowie. And then the eulogy. And Elder Higgs, whose sister had died the day before, and who was leaving immediately after the funeral to go to California, spoke out of his heart. He spoke about tomorrow, which might not come. But he told us that Jesus is here for us. He told us what could save us, and that was Jesus. And he made a special appeal to the young people, that they would have to make decisions. And then he said how badly we need our young people. We need you to stand up, he stated. He needs you to realize what can happen in a person's life. Yes, that was one of the saddest films that this reporter has ever attended. Young people of all races, creeds, and colors crying and moaning for a classmate. A heartbroken mother, grandmothers, aunts, and all said goodbye. Said goodbye to a young man with all of the potentials. A young man, prescient. We do not know the answer. We do know that there was another young man in Oklahoma City this week that was funeralized. Only 12 years old, took his own life. What does this mean, and why would I report this kind of story? Because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. They tell us to give our kids better things than we have had. We try. And then for some, we cannot do that, but we try. And the elder told us on Thursday, parents, when you do your best, when you do the best that you can for your children, and they seem to want to go in another direction, leave them in the hands of God. Leave them in the hands of God. So to all of you that have suffered losses this week, to Vicky, Ron McDonald, and Eloise Crittenden, Nathan McDonald, R.E. McDonald, Keith Frazier, Ron McDonald, and all of the family. Remember that we will understand it better by and by. And until then, we'll keep hoping, we'll keep praying, and we'll keep holding on. And all we can say is thank God that we had the opportunity, to try. Clara Luper reporting. There will be a wedding in Oklahoma City this evening. It's going to be a wedding. Pastor Aaron Jackson Jr. is here from Fort Worth, Texas. He's going to perform the ceremony, and it will be at the Evangelistic Baptist Church. Dr. T.J. Roberts and his lovely wife are getting married again. How many of you would like to get married again? Reverend Kerr and Reverend Free will be taking part in this. Now, there will be a wedding feast tonight at 7 o'clock at the Myriad Convention Center. And you can call the church, the Evangelistic Baptist Church of Christ Family, and get you a ticket. They are only $15. A wedding feast. And I bet you have never attended anything like that wedding this evening. The wedding is at 4 o'clock, and then the feast at 7 o'clock. And tomorrow they will end the celebration of Dr. T.J. Roberts, the pastor of the Evangelistic Baptist Church of Christ, 30th Church of Christ, and that's located on 30th and Martin Luther King. Now, some of you preachers don't even have a wife. And here, Reverend Robert's been married to one beautiful lady, and he's going to marry her again. Congratulations, congratulations. Come help us celebrate the 16th anniversary service of our pastor and family. From the Wildwood Baptist family comes this invitation. The Wildwood Baptist Church is located at 60 Northeast 63rd Street, on August the 4th, 5th, and 6th, nightly at 7:30 p.m., they will be celebrating the 16th anniversary. Climaxing Sunday, August the 8th at 3:30 p.m., Dr. Reverend Benjamin Smith will speak Sunday morning. He is a pastor of the Antioch Baptist Church in Bastrop, Texas. But on Sunday evening, Reverend James Coates, the pastor of Bethlehem Star, will be the guest speaker with the New Covenant in Macedonia Baptist Church's ministers alternating. There will be guest speakers and alternates during the week. Please plan to attend and bring someone with you. Now let me repeat that date. August the 4th, 5th, and 6th. August the 4th, 5th, and 6th. The 16th anniversary of Reverend and Mrs. Smith. Congratulations, because if you can stay at a Baptist church for 16 years, you're doing okay. You are doing okay. Remember now, I shall go back and tell you about the days of the Freedom Fiesta, and I want you to call me because I need to know exactly where you stand as it relates to what we're doing. Let's go with on Monday, August the 16th, there will be everybody will be sitting up talking about what they are going to do. On August the 17th, that's Cecil Williams Day, and at that time, Mrs. Cheryl Fowler and Mrs. Ford will be in charge. On Wednesday, it will be the President's Day with David Fowler in charge. On Thursday, the Sit-Inners Day with Mrs. Gloria Matthews, Mrs. Bosie Walker, and Mrs. Marilyn Hildred will be in charge. And I've been informed that there will be a big dinner where you can get every kind of meat that your grandparents and parents and you dream of at Thompson Shardina's Daycare Center. On Friday the 20th, Lady Ruth Hunter's Nancy Davis and Lillian Oliver's fashion show, and that would be something to remember. On Saturday the 21st, it will be Clara Luper's Day. Clara Luper's name symbolizes all of the people that have participated in the sit-in movement, whether they participated by prayers, by donations, by going to jail. That day is for them. There will be a parade. That's the Grand Marshal and the organizer of the parade is the Honorable Jerry Todd. And those of you that do not know Jerry, you go by 16th and Martin Luther King and get acquainted with Jerry Todd. Ellis Hilder just told me that he has gone by and offered his service. On Sunday, the Freedom Fiesta will end at Avery African Methodist Episcopal Church with Dr. Williams Day. At that time, the guest speaker will be Reverend W.B. Parker, and I will be telling you more about that next week, and you will be getting calls and letters, and you will be asked to participate. On Saturday night, there will be the annual Clara Luper's dinner and the sit-inners. The tickets are only $20, and those of you that want to support, I'm not talking about those of you that want to talk about what we aren't doing. We want to see if you will support us. I want to sell a few tickets today. I have some left. My telephone out here is 672-1220. And I want to ask you, just like those cheerleaders, are you with me? Do you want to see that Freedom Garden? Do you want to see those names carved like they have never been carved before? Do you want to see young people continue to come to Freedom Center to study, to learn, to work? Do you want to see it? If so, prove it. Do you want to see it? If so, help us keep the lights on. Help us keep the fire burning. If you want to help us, speak now or forever hold your peace. This is your opportunity to make your contribution. We told you we wanted to buy that building, and you helped us. We told you that we wanted a monument, and what did you do? You supported us like people have never supported us before. You did it. And now you're bringing your friends up to the Freedom Center. You've seen the stones, and you have asked, what mean ye by these stones? And then the answer is, these stones represent 246 years of slavery and 99 years of organized, legalized segregation. And then you see some stones missing on there, and you say, why is it that we don't have all of the stones? It's very simple. We just didn't have the money. But now that you know you're going to support us, those of you from out of town, you may write us, Post Office Box 11106, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The zip is 73111. Or you can call any of the people that I have spoken about. If you love me, baby, prove it to me. Prove that you love the work that we are doing. Prove it. We stand on our record. We are proud of our achievements. And we are proud of the fact that you have been a part of it. Calvin, what do you think? They're going to prove they love me. They are going to prove it.
Mom, the phones are starting to light up out there. And what was the price of this dinner now? The big dinner for the
it's the
Clara
same
Luper
price
Day?
it's been for the past 5 years, $20.
$20, okay. So I don't have to repeat that anymore.
No, you don't have to repeat it. We have
the
tickets.
date on it is when?
The date is August the 21st at Harvest Buffet, located at 3900 Northwest 63rd Street. It's Freedom Fiesta time in Oklahoma City. And since we don't have all that money to advertise, we have you. And if you can talk, Calvin, somebody told me I talk too much, but I want to tell them that this is a Clara Luper. They don't talk enough. Why don't they talk? Do they have something to say? If you have something to say, call me at 672-1220. And what I want, I don't need you to tell me how bad things are, because I read that it's better to light one little candle than to curse the darkness. I want you to tell me what you're going to do to help. Maybe you don't have $20. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get 20 people to give $1 apiece, and I'll send a child to the Harvest Buffet. We love, yes, Calvin, read that subject of that dinner.
Well, don't ask me. You know how tough my reading is.
It sure is tough, because you started reading when you were 4 years old. If you didn't read, you would need it, Miles.
Thank you, Dr. Dow, for these eyeglasses that make this following article and this ad possible. Dear friend, it is Freedom Fiesta time in Oklahoma City. This is the time that we celebrate the beginning of the sit-in movement, which started in Oklahoma City on August 19, 1958. And led to the elimination of segregation in all public places. Help us celebrate by reserving your ticket today. All funds will be used for the maintenance of the monument and to complete the Black History Garden Wall. We love Clara Luper and the Sit-Inners Dinner at the Harvest Buffet, 3900 Northwest 63rd Street, Oklahoma City, and the date on that is August the 21st, 1993. You may reserve a table for you and your friends. Businesses are invited.
Okay, Calvin, let's spend 4 minutes naming as many sit-ins as you can think of. These were the leaders, the real leaders. And yesterday I was out at a cafe and I saw black people and white people eating together, and I was so happy because I remember the years from 1958 to 1964. I remember going to jail 26 times. I remember the sit-ins.
I bet you don't remember who was the president of the youth council at the time.
Oh, of course I know. Gwendolyn Fuller was the president, followed by Barbara Posey. Okay, come on,
there's Lynzetta Jones, there's Portwood Williams, and of course there's Calvin Luper, there's Marilyn Hill.
Well, you call Marilyn, it was Marilyn
Luper, yes.
Okay, let's go on. Let's see how many members of how many sit-ins can you name offhand?
Oh, okay. Barbara Posey, Goldie Battle, Marilyn Luper, Calvin Luper, Portwood
You name them. Don't rename them.
Don't rename them. Well, I thought we were starting over.
Go to the Woods. You remember the Woods brothers?
Yeah, right. Charles Woods and what's his brother's name?
Oh, I'm not gonna tell you anything if you can't remember.
Let's go to the Edwards.
Okay.
You come up with some Edwards.
James Arthur Edwards.
Carolyn Edwards.
Oh, we could go on with the Edwards, but
let's go with the Browns.
Richard Brown. Okay. Let's go on with the Browns.
Glendale Brown, Leslie Brown.
Glendale Brown. You go on with
let's name the Coopers.
Oh, the Coopers. There were plenty of them. Yeah, if you notice, there were hundreds and hundreds of young people that participated in the sit-in movement.
You know, there at the Freedom Center, it's interesting to see some of the memorabilia that we have there. And you know, before every sit-in, we would sign a piece of paper on attendance, and you can look back at some of our little young signatures at that time, and some of our old signatures, and it really brings back the feeling that the whole Freedom Fiesta week is all about.
But certainly I know Glendale Brown, who was a regular sit-in. I never shall forget Glendale at the Hookins Hotel. And there are so many memories.
Big Bud Barnett.
Oh, Big Bud Barnett and all. We will honor these young people, and certainly we would like for you to join us. We don't want you to be like hogs get the blessings and don't even look up to see where they came from. Every time I see one of those sit-inners who stood there, who was spit on, I just want to say thank you for standing.
You know, so many places you can see the sit-inners now. Like you go out to Goodyear Tire and Rubber, you see them out there as supervisors. You go to AT&T, you see them there in the management.
Yeah,
you go,
Mr. Jeffrey.
You go any place in Oklahoma City, you go into service, you see them as colonels and getting ready to be generals almost.
Yes.
You go into your law office, you know, you see the...
Arsenio Johnson
right.
and others. There are so many names, and we want you. We want you. Next week we will start calling the names of the sit-ins, and we want to talk about August. It is a restless time. That was a time that the first slaves came to America. It was a time of many of the racial upheavals that we've seen across the country.
I got a question.
Yes.
I bet you can't answer it. Who was the adult president of the NACP in August of 1959?
Oh, I can answer. It was not August 1959. Dr. E.C. Moon was president of the NACP and suffered from it. Calvin, I'll be leaving Oklahoma City on Thursday.
Where are you going, Mom, this time?
I'm going to be one of the speakers in Little Rock, Arkansas, where one of my co-workers in the great cause of freedom, Mrs. Johnson, a member of the National Youth Work Committee, will be put to rest. Now, Mrs. Johnson has been such a friend of the Oklahoma City Youth Council. She's been like another mother for Shelley Luper as they have traveled together all over the country. And many of you out in radio land know Corey Randolph, who's a member of the National Board of Directors, and that was his mother that passed. I shall be there as one of the speakers at her farewell, at her funeral. But Calvin, next week we're going to start naming the sit-ins. We're going to read it out the book. And I'm telling you, it's going to be something. We will read because at night there's 13 signs and we'll take it out. Now, if you were there, we're going to call your name a part of it. We'll call a few names each week. But in the meantime, I want you to get in contact with me.
We may not have enough time to call
time. Oh, we can buy some more time.
Okay.
We can buy some more time.
Because there were hundreds involved. It's going to be really exciting.
Hundreds. Yes, those were real leaders, the commandos and all.
Saturday mornings this time, we'd already be down there in Mr. Wade's face.
Yes.
We're giving him a headache.
Merlin was telling me that some of the people that used to spit on us spit on her are now taking out insurance policies for her. Isn't that something?
That's amazing, Mom. But times have changed, and now a lot of people that I've met doing the sit-in movement and that were on the other side of the counter, some of the white people, they said, man, I was just doing my job. And I tell them, man, I was just doing my job too.
Your job?
My job was to sit there and irritate you and to get an opportunity to enjoy the privileges of a first-class citizen, a Coca-Cola and a hamburger.
Can you remember Charles Woods, and now he's Sir Charles Taylor? Oh, can you remember Reginald Johnson? Can you remember these people? I want you to come up to Freedom Center. I want you to look on that monument, and I want you to see the people. We only have 100 figures up there, but inside we have the real story of people. I was talking to Esther Swain yesterday, and Esther said, Clara, every time I go by that monument, I'm just proud. And we are proud of the monument. We are proud of the people that made it possible. And I think about...
Can you see Ben Tipton?
Yes, I remember the night that building was bombed. Ben Tipton, a tall man, say, we're going to build it. And he called me Mom so many times. You and Ben shared the same birthday on February the 10th.
There were thousands who participated.
And their names are on the road.
That do a lot of talking, a lot of other bad things, and never have come up with nothing positive. And it's very difficult to find their names there on the roll book.
It couldn't be there if they were not there, because if they had been there, they would have had to sign the roll. The telephone number is 672-1220. Don't only say you love me, you wish me good luck, you're praying for me, but I need your support. I need you to show the world that on August the 21st, you will be there. You will support all of the activities that we have. Not only that, you will come in there and show us how to do them better, because we adore it.
Sounds like you're inviting Portwood Williams.
Oh yes, we got to talk about Portwood Williams. But what I'm doing, Calvin, I'm inviting all people to participate. And I want to say to you adults out there, if you have any children, get them involved in some program. Get them involved and deeply involved. And I want to extend an invitation to all of you to remember the NACP Youth Council, our programs, and what we are doing. I want you to support the churches because we've got to. We cannot stand aside and see our young people go down. They are too young. They are our dreams and our aspirations. We do not own the oil wells. We do not own the oil wells of America, the banks, but we have our children. And these children belong to all of us. Let me congratulate the graduate practical nurses that marched down that aisle on Thursday. Certainly we were all proud of each one of you. Go on to the top because the bottom is too crowded. Let's go to the top. And let's not spend our time not perpetuating our own history. Because if you know your history, you know where you're going. And those of you that don't know the history of the NACP, I invite you to go to the libraries. I invite you to pick up the newspaper and read about the NACP. And you would not have to stand up and ignorantly say the NACP was not doing anything and not done anything. And anybody that will accuse the NACP for being responsible for the crime in this country is certainly unread, uneducated, uninformed, and want to side on the side of those that have stood since 1909 trying to destroy the NACP. Well, I got it. I would like to welcome Lucille Perkins, who has just become a new member of the NACP. And here's somebody donating $3 for young people and 3 new members. That's the problem. Now, Clara Luper is sure of herself. I'm sure you love me because I love you. And if you don't love me, I'm going to love you anyhow. And you're going to support me anyhow. It's no use of talking about the race. Clara Luper's running ahead and will always run ahead. In fact, I'm going to recommend that take me out of the class with the young people and put me in a different class because you are in my class. And you young people have supported me so well. Whatever you do, wherever you go, and whatever you say, remember the bridge that has brought you over. Remember the people that have helped you. And every time I see an old black person, I just want to walk up and hug that person and say, thank you for believing. Clara Luper, we have come this far by faith. Bye-bye. I do love you.